beautiful Saturday. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Dear Man. And today we have Ernest joining us again for a continuation of the rather interesting discussion we had last week. Thanks for joining, Ernest.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Awesome. Good. So, hey guys, wherever you are, go out there, inform family and friends that Dear Van is on. It's time to stop anything you are doing, everything you are doing, and let's do this. So go out there. If you've not yet liked our page, go out there, like our page, subscribe to it. If you think the video is share worthy, go out there and share. And so, as usual, let me go out there, do it myself, and let everyone know that, hey, Dear Van is on. So we can go on to another exciting episode. And Ernest, we really happy to have you here again today. Okay, so let me just tell everyone we are live. Okay, good. So I think that continuing from last week, basically the main, should I say bone of contention? No, it's not. It's the main part of the discussion that really piqued our interest was the fact that Ernest mentioned that, I mean, it should be okay to actually tell your spouse that, hey, at this point, I think there should be another party to the marriage. Yeah. So, Ernest, picking it back from where we left it, would you say that it is only fair to let a spouse know that, or a potential spouse know that going into this marriage, if things get tough, it is possible I would look elsewhere to get married to someone else, or the spouse should also be open to also going out there to get someone else to be a third party to the marriage. Do you think so? Do you think it's only fair, as per what you mentioned, to let these potential spouse know right at the beginning?
So, well, if you're open for it, if it's something you want, why not? It's important to let your spouse know from the beginning so that she doesn't get surprised as time go by. Yes, I mean, if that's what you stand for, I mean, I think it's just fair you let the person know. I know some people who are okay with it. I mean,
Right.
once you respect them and then you give them whatever they do, and then I mean, basically, you respect them as first wives and all that. They are good to go.
Okay, awesome. So now bringing it back to your doorstep, right? Is it something you would want to do
Okay.
from the get-go with your potential spouse? I mean, given that you said it should be something that your spouse should be open to.
So, personally, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, personally, I'm not that kind of um a multi-woman person. I mean,
Okay.
personally, it's difficult for me to do, and it's not just in women perspective. Even when I'm doing two things at the same time, realize that
Multitasking.
multitasking. I don't do so well at all of them at the go. I do good at one. So it
Okay.
translates to that aspect, relationship wise and all that. So when
Okay.
I'm with you, it's more of everything. I even have time, don't even have that time to even call and talk to other ladies because I'm always more or less with you or talking to you.
Okay.
I mean
Okay.
on a
Then
personal level.
okay. Before Prissy comes in, let me go back to the reference you made last week to the Bible about the Bible permitting people to marry more than one. Um, Now, I usually like to break things down to make it so easy, right? Are you really talking about the new dispensation? I mean, after Christianity set in, because sometimes sometimes the challenge that people have when it comes to the Bible is that they bundle everything together. There are two dispensations put in a single book, right? So everything from Genesis right down to the book of Acts, before the book of Acts, after the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, and when the new dispensation started, are two different dispensations. So for example, you're talking about, when you talk about Christianity, really, you're not talking about anything, and I'm putting this in context, you're not talking about anything before the resurrection, because that was a different dispensation. What exactly were you referring to when you said that if the Bible allows people to marry more than one?
So, in reference to that, it was basically about the stories from the Bible. I mean, the kings,
Okay.
Solomons, and all. I mean, those prophets who have more than one, and then based on the stories from the Bible, not
Okay.
whether the Old or the New Testament. Yes.
Okay.
And these people were also people of men of God as well.
Oh yes. Again, that is why I want to bring in dispensations, because other than that, then would say that sacrifices that were taking place in Leviticus that a priest had to do, and so on, I mean, pertains to us Christians now. They don't. They were a foreshadow of things to come, and so yeah, it's in the Bible, all right, but the Bible has to be read in context, right? Yeah. So that was just to get that clear. Now, viewers out there, if you have any questions, yeah, it's getting exciting as usual here. Prissy, do you have any question for Ernest?
So, Ernest, you said that naturally you are somebody who doesn't do well with handling two things, but last week it seemed that even though you don't do well multitasking or handling two women, it seemed there was something that was willing to push you to do that. Like, there is definitely something that can trigger you to do that, with the sort of answer you gave us, that if there was a condition that is not going the way you wanted, then you have the possibility of considering another option. So again, I want to ask, is it still possible if those conditions come up?
Well, are you, can I come? Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, decisions like that are not personal decisions. I mean, if we are together, I and my partner are together as one, basically such decisions has to be a collective decision, and I mean everyone should be okay with it. If not, then you shouldn't even consider it. If both of you are not together on it, then you can't consider it. Yes.
I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
So, what if you raise that decision and your partner disagrees, but then you are not happy about, because sometimes you are not happy about the sort of feedback you get from your partner. You can say, oh, it's okay, but then before you know it, it is changing your attitude, because that is not what you want personally. You can say, okay, let's come to a consensus and all that, but it can also change the trajectory of your marriage.
Okay, so I think such a thought, or I mean suggestion, may come from a problem or something, may come from somewhere. It will be one of the solutions to a problem. So if such a solution, that one solution is not workable, then I'm sure there could be other solutions which may come from her and me. But at the end of it, we need to agree on something to be able to move forward.
Okay, Ernest, I have a question, and Courage also has a question, but let me put this across first. Ernest, don't you think that people going into marriage with open-ended options really spells doom from the start? This is what I mean. Marriage is supposed to be a lifelong commitment, right? If from the get-go there is a caveat that could make it, I mean, from the biblical perspective, then we're looking at either someone found in adultery or death that should separate people from marriage. Now, aside these two, don't you think that if it is open-ended and it's more like, okay, if something comes up and one party is not open to it, then we should be good to go our separate ways? Don't you think that if it starts on that note, it sets it up for failure?
So going the separate ways, I didn't just mention about it. So I mean, I don't know where that is coming from about the separate.
No. It's just a generic.
It's
question
a general question. Okay,
yeah,
so
exactly, yeah.
Well, marriage itself, as you said, is a lifelong institution. Yes, but as much as it's a lifelong institution, there are things that come along the way that shake the foundation of the relationship or the marriage. And
Okay.
as an individual, I would always say that you go in with the intention of ending.
Correct.
Yes, to go in
Correct.
with the intention of ending. You shouldn't go in
Yeah.
with the intention of, I'll fall out at a point in time. This takes
Exactly.
me back to my point about the communication and able to work things out. I
Right.
mean, what exactly is it beyond repairs? If it's beyond repairs, then fine. But if it's workable, then two parties should be able to work something out and continue.
Exactly. Because if I compare that to the discussion we were having last week, right? It presupposes that it's just like someone going to school, like starting a 4-year degree course, and having in mind, so one person thinking that, hey, I have to complete this program or nothing else, and someone also going like, hey, Mr. Lecturer, if you want to speak to me anyhow, I'll drop out of school. Those two people with different mindsets might end up differently just because of the mindset they started out with. And that was why I was asking that question. So let's go to
that's true.
Go ahead.
Just a little add up. Life itself is not a straight line. So sometimes you would come back, and continue. So just like the school situation, someone may go reach level 300, may face a little challenges, may have to defer, go do some little things and come. But the goal is ending that course.
Exactly. So in that same marriage context, whatever the challenges that come around or their way, if the mindset is still to make it to the end, like go, come back, but at the end of the day, still make it to the end, that is a better mindset to have than, hey, if anything comes and I'm not up for it, that is the end. I think that a mindset like that would be very challenging right from the get-go. Yeah. Okay, so Courage says that everyone is looking fresh. Thanks, Courage. That's my only comment. Now, I would want to know how Ernest will react if his woman asks to introduce someone into the fray. Yeah, that's a very good question. So, Ernest, say your spouse-to-be or even your spouse in marriage comes and says that, hey, Ernest, I think that whatever I was thinking at the beginning of the marriage has changed, and I think that, there is a third party that should be introduced. What will be your feedback?
On her side?
Yes, on her side. She thinks that, okay, it should be fine for her to have an extra man in there. Like, yeah, what do you think? Would you think she's going crazy or something?
Well, I like to give people a chance. I would like to talk to her. No, it's not accepting it, but listening to her. Basically,
I get it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So, why do you want to have a third person? What really is the issue? What is it that you want me to do that I'm not doing? What is it that I can do so that third person doesn't even come into the picture? We have to talk about. I'm sure at the end, definitely we should be able to work something out.
So a follow-up question. would you have expected your spouse rather to raise what the challenge is for you to resolve rather than, in quotes, starting to threaten to bring someone into the fray? Which one do you think will be a more responsible approach?
Raising a solution to the problem is definitely the way to go, than to bring the solution of bringing a third person into the picture.
Exactly. So just like I think you pointing out, like, okay, whatever it is, if we can communicate, we can solve it. Then, in fact, a third person shouldn't ever be a choice in the first place. And that's what all we're driving at, because it's just not the most responsible way to go about it. And this is how I always process it. Say my wife gets me angry and I say, hey, because of that, I'm going to get someone else. What happens if that someone else also gets me angry? And the next person gets me angry. You see how foolish I'll become at the end of the day? So yeah, to really approach it in a responsible way is to look at what the real problem is, figure out a solution, rather than bringing the option of a third person, because that always destroys that beautiful thing called marriage. Okay, so Carrie says that, just to say something, not everyone experiences challenges in marriage which shakes the foundation. I perfectly agree. Someone's marriage problem is, let's buy a Range Rover, and you are saying Land Cruiser. Not everyone experiences a foundation shaker. I absolutely agree. I believe that statement about marriage has problems being generally pushed negatively. People are enjoying great things, and to what Carrie said, it is very true. We've been married for 12 years, going on to 13 years. By God's grace, those things called challenges, problems, by God's grace, it is non-existent with us. What is our challenge in marriage is about, maybe we are discussing some business we are supposed to do, and I think we should do it this way. Prissy thinks, no, it shouldn't be done that way. It should be done in a different way. Basically, that is it. But to the marriage itself, there is nothing like a foundation shaking, anything, problem, or whatever. And it is one of the reasons we actually have this Dear Van program, right? To really communicate the positives of marriage, because the narrative out there is always negative, that there should be some fights, there should be some lady in the picture or some guy in the picture, there should be some side chick or something. No. It's only because the few bad examples we see out there is what is projected. And of course, in the media, anything negative sells more. If I come to sit here one day and say that myself and Prissy are divorcing, I tell you, it will ramp up more views, more reactions than when we are saying positive things. And that's just how it works. Okay, so coming back to you, Ernest, what do you think would be the best advice you would give to someone who is thinking about going into marriage, but is also thinking about, hey, I'm just going to test the depth of the water with my feet. If it doesn't work, I would sign off. What do you think would be your advice?
Well, I mean, you can't go into marriage saying you want to go and test the depth of the water. I mean, okay. I don't think you should go in it with such a mentality. I mean,
why? Because there are people with that mentality.
Well,
so why shouldn't they?
That's why, most importantly, we have the dating and courtship period where you get to know the person and then talk. I mean, I believe in talking a lot. You guys have to talk and understand each other, be on the same page. And I believe once you're able to do such talkings and you both understand each other, it makes it easier to go on when you are in the marriage.
Okay, so assuming I grew up seeing my father get involved with 10 women, why shouldn't I be? Why shouldn't I follow my father's footsteps?
Well,
Do you have an advice for me?
So what you said, it's actually they say monkey see, monkey do. So basically what you see
It seems
up,
you have a lot of sayings. Yeah, go ahead.
what you see growing up forms a lot about your programming and all that. So it's easy when you grew up in a house that your parents do fight a lot. It's going to affect you. Growing up, you get to picture that marriage is more about fighting. You're running away from a marriage where you are going to have fights.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe such things influenced by programming. You get it's not about the fight thing, but I mean on other levels. So don't go in to test. And also, if someone has done wrong, it doesn't mean that you should also do wrong. I mean, two wrongs don't make a right. So you need to see what is good and actually take the right path. Two wrongs doesn't make a right.
Oh, okay. So before I'll come back with a follow-up question, and I'm taking all of Chrissy's questions slots.
Don't worry, you can carry on.
I'm really enjoying this. Now, Wanda is saying that exactly most married couples scare with the ones coming into marriage. Yeah, Wanda, and it's challenging. You see, 100 people will be married, so we'll have 100 couples, right? You will only hear about the 3 couples that had an issue. And you will not hear about the 97 that are having a good marriage. Because in our culture, people want to just keep things to themselves anyway. Because they are, hey, I go out there, I say this, then I'll be the target, right? And people will look at, or maybe some people will be out there and say, okay, we live to see. I mean, it's all our mindset and how we process things and how we want to do things. Yeah, so Ernest, there are beautiful marriages out there. There are follow-worthy marriages out there. And so marriage is not a bad institution. All marriages are not bad. Okay, so Wanda says greetings to Ernest. Ernest,
Wanda.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean Wanda. I know Wanda very well. So Wanda.
Oh, okay. Okay, awesome. Okay, so Ernest, let me ask you a rather, let me call it silly question. Do you see something wrong before that? Do you consider yourself a Christian? Would you say you're a Christian?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yes. Okay. So as a Christian, would you consider marrying more than one, like having more than one spouse, wrong?
Having more than one spouse, do I consider it wrong?
Yeah, like you, a man, you have 2 wives or 3 wives. Would you consider it wrong?
Well, personally, I don't think it's a good thing to do. It brings up a whole lot of issues. Some people are able to do it, but when you do it, I wouldn't judge you because I mean you're entitled to your own yes.
Correct. So this one has to just do with you. I mean, yeah, people do it. Of course, you wouldn't judge anyone, but like you personally, do you think it's wrong?
Personally, it's wrong. Personally.
Okay. Why? Do you have any reasons?
If you want to talk about reasons, there are a whole lot of reasons.
Give us a few.
It could bring confusion growing up. This like, oh, my kids, especially when this has maybe a boy, this has a girl, has like 4 kids, this has like just one, this doesn't have kids, and you buy something for this, you don't buy for this, it's an issue. And ladies like a lot of attention. So imagine you are not able to spread attention equally and all that. I mean, it creates a lot of issue. You may die early. You may die early. But there are some people who are also doing well with it. But even those who we think are doing well are saying that we shouldn't. Like an Ejipon came the last time and said,
exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And said that if you shouldn't do it, that he doesn't sleep at night. Exactly. So why would I do that?
Right. And awesome. I think that's a good one. Prissy, do you have any question for Ernest?
So with marriage, from my experience, what I've come to realize is that most of the problems that people face in marriage are induced by outsiders.
Correct.
Like maybe the two of you are married personally, you don't have an issue, but third parties come in. It's not like they come in, but maybe you have expectations to fulfill outside. Maybe you have to go for funerals and you want your wife to follow you, and your wife says no, or your wife says that let's not go. And then you'll be like, okay, so if I don't go, what will this outsiders say? I realized that most of the time, for me, I am like, in my family, they see me as some way. Because for me, if it doesn't make sense to me, I'm not outside pleaser. So I think that is one of the things that has helped my marriage. Because I will not let any outsider influence how I live my life. So let's say, assuming you had a partner, you just married somebody who comes from a home where, like, when there's an outing, she's expected to attend. But then you also have a mindset that it is not necessary. You don't have to go for every outing. And this one doesn't understand. How are you going to make that thing work out?
Okay, so one likes something and then one doesn't like it. So it should be well communicated that, you know what, this is me. I mean, this is how I am. I actually don't like this, and I understand that you like this. But as much as I don't like it, I would put in an effort to do it, but it wouldn't be as you expect. Maybe once a while, I would do this. It's an effort I'm putting in. And I expect you to also understand me. And then once a while, I mean, you also, let's understand each other on this. There are people that are naturally, how do they call it? Extrovert and introvert. Yes, introvert. And you shouldn't force them gradually. I mean, gradually just initiate them into the process.
Okay, so Ernest, just to fall back on what you just said, you would expect the person to understand. Practically, it doesn't work like that. In fact, that is what brings a lot of quarrels, issues, and stuff. Because in your mind and the way you are raised, you expect that this is a no-brainer. You should understand this. And the person goes like, no, in my world, things don't work like that. So from all the discussions we've had, I see that you are more of someone who wants to communicate, who wants to talk things through. But what happens if your spouse is not the communication type or the listening type, and is adamant and going about whatever she thinks is the way to go? How are you going to approach it? So let's say that all your communication skills have failed. How are you going to approach it?
Okay, so I've learned a few things from a few people, that to have a happy marriage, I mean, once the woman is happy, you are happy. So once the woman is happy,
do you know I don't believe that? Do you know I don't believe in that?
Really? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, like
Well,
happy wife, happy life.
Okay.
Really? And let me explain why I don't believe in that. You see,
Okay.
I would rather speak my heart out about whatever is bothering me than to shut up and say, oh, let me just keep my wife happy.
Okay.
That way, it will be lopsided. You would always end up being sad just to make your wife happy, and you expect that will make all of you happy. It doesn't work in real life. So for me, I would rather, yes, this is what is bothering me. Hey, let's open up and talk about it. Than say, okay, let me keep you happy, and then I will be happy. How does happiness is not transmitted? Okay, let me leave that one out. So yeah, go ahead with your submission.
Well, this is a tough. I feel like everything should be able to communicate through expression, and then I think everything. I mean, it's about the mode of communicate, the mode of communication. Yes,
Okay.
I think it's about the mode.
Okay.
If maybe the way you are communicating it is not, she's not receiving. Maybe find a different way. Maybe do something that will let her see. Maybe you do something that she likes, and then when you do that, you like, this is actually what it leads to, and this is what, if you force me to do this, it might end up pushing me not to do this because I'll not feel comfortable around those people we are going to. It's going to, in the end, make me not happy, and in the end, you also not be happy. The marriage is going to be in limbo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about the communication.
Okay. So what I would say in all, as we close, it's already time. Time just flies so fast. It is. I think that given the fact that you're really open to communication and all, when you're looking for a spouse, please look out for someone who is really willing to communicate, because
and open-minded.
Yes, you should have a like-minded person, and you have a very sweet marriage. But if you have someone who says, "Hey, what are you saying? I am not even hearing you," then it would. Yeah, exactly.
This is how I am, so allow me to.
There are people who say, "I'm not listening to anything. That is me," and you go like, "Hey, are you okay?" Yeah, but that is me. Especially after they are married and all. So I really think you should look out for someone who is also open to a lot of communication, a lot of taking feedback, and all. Carrie says that NS needs someone who also likes to communicate. That will help. Exactly. And that's the same thing Carrie is saying. If you get someone who is really open to communication, things will really be awesome for you guys. And so we would like to really thank you for another opportunity with you. It looks like time really sped off so fast. We really appreciate your time, your insights and all. And Prissy, thank you as well. Our viewers, thank you so much for your time. It's time to go. I mean, it's so sad. We'll come your way again next week with another episode of Dear Man. And as always, remember that no two relationships are the same. Thank you, and bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Yeah, it looks like today our controller wants us to continue. Yeah, exactly. Probably.
It's been great. It's been great.
Yeah, exactly. He's just enjoying himself.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead, Ernest. Yeah.
Yes, it's been great. I mean, I'm happy to be on this platform. At least I get to learn something that I should definitely have to go for a communicator, and then someone who's open-minded, which has always been on my mind. But stressing on it is great. I mean, we have to connect on that level, or else, I mean, I don't think it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's good. So till our operator cuts us off, we'll still be on. I mean, exactly, because otherwise, operator, yeah, you can go ahead and cut us off. He just came on to say hello to everyone. Yeah. So it's been good. Hopefully next week we'll have another episode. Now, what we might be